I see my name in shining lights. Yeah, a different city every night. Oh, I swear the world better prepare for when I'm a billionaire.
It's time to get down to business on the weekend's #1 business program. Known as the King of Networking, your host, Shalom Klein, has worked with thousands of entrepreneurs and created countless jobs. So, to success. Let's get down to business.
And indeed, we're all about business, jobs, and entrepreneurship. In business, we talk a lot about business here. You are on with Get Down to Business, and I'm your host, Shalom Klein. Remember, you can always download podcasts from Get Down to Business on my website at shalomklein.com. And while you are there, don't forget to follow me on Twitter at Shalom Klein. It's going to be a jam-packed week of content and information you'll not want to miss. So let's get right to it. I am thrilled, absolutely thrilled to be joined by Bryan Clayton, who is the Chief Executive Officer at GreenPal. And GreenPal is connecting you with that perfect lawn pro, a challenge that we have all faced. So Bryan, a true entrepreneur behind every successful business, there is a successful entrepreneur. Behind every successful entrepreneur, there is a remarkable story. I know yours is no different. Bryan, welcome to the program.
Shalom, thanks for having me on. Great to be here.
It's great to have you. So again, your story, tell us a little bit of how your adventure took you to develop a lawn care app and platform.
Yeah, so rewind 4 years ago, I was a teenager and my dad busted in my room. He said, "Hey, quit playing Nintendo. You've got a job to do. You're going to go mow the neighbor's yard." He made me go cut the neighbor's grass, and luckily he did, because something about that just stuck with me. I made like $20, and I thought, wow, I don't have to hassle my mom and dad for money anymore. I can just like do this and make money. This is great. And I remember the first thing I did is I went back to my computer and started making up little flyers and passing them all over the neighborhood. And by the end of that first summer, I had like 20 customers in the neighborhood I was mowing yards for. That just stuck with me. And I kept cutting grass all through high school and all through college. And when I graduated college, I had to make a decision. Was I going to go into the job market and basically take a pay cut or stick with this lawn mowing business? Didn't really want to be a lawn guy my whole life, but I decided, hey, let's see how far I can take this. And over a 15-year period of time, I was able to little by little grow that into a real company with over 150 employees, got it eventually over $10 million a year in annual revenue. And in 2013, the business was acquired by one of the largest landscaping companies in the United States. So growing that business just from me and a push mower to me and like 90 trucks going out every day, I learned the hard way about how to get a business going from scratch. And after I sold that business, I took some time off and I figured, what do I want to do now? And the idea for GreenPal, the company I'm working on now, was just one that was really clear to me. I knew an app needed to exist like Uber or Airbnb or Instacart, but for the lawn mowing business. And so I set out and recruited 2 co-founders, and we started working on GreenPal, which is kind of like the Uber for lawn mowing. Been at this business for 8 years. We're an 8-year overnight success. The first 2 or 3 years getting this company going were really, really tough, but we just stuck with it. Now here we are, several 100,000 people using the app, doing $20 million a year in revenue.
It's awesome. And so when people click that button and they download the app, they go to GreenPal. I know they press the button and magically Bryan Clayton shows up to mow their lawn. No, I'm
That's
just
right.
kidding.
I'm there.
That's the beauty of this. Is Bryan, you have scaled this at such a level, which is awesome. And not only are you helping people with that unique challenge, again, making sure that that lawn care, quality lawn care, might I add, but you're creating jobs and you're creating an entrepreneurship platform, which is absolutely awesome. So let's talk about that entrepreneurship piece for a second. Tell us what you know now that you wish you knew when you got started. Tell us about the challenges, putting the lawn care aside, about growing a business.
Yeah, looking back over 20 years, one thing that's made sense to me is just like looking at it, just like working through the levels of entrepreneurship, almost like a video game, and just really focusing on one level at a time and not getting too worried about levels that really don't matter at that stage of the game. And so like level one, this might be get your first $1,000 or $2,000 a month in revenue and just get that going. And level two might be hiring your first employee. And then level three might be building a sales process and so on. Like just focused on one level at a time knock out the challenges at that level, get through that stage, and then focus everything on the next level. That's something that's just kind of stood out to me 20 years of business, where at points in the journey, I would be worried about things that wouldn't matter. Like, for instance, starting Green Pal, we obsessed over like what our brand was and what the mascot looked like and what the color tone was. And like, we spent way too long worried about that kind of thing when we just needed 100 people to use the app that we had built. And so we, after like wasting time on things that didn't matter, that really applied to a different level of the game, we decided, okay, we need 100 people to use this thing. Let's go pass out some flyers. And we passed out like 100,000 door hangers all over Nashville, Tennessee, where we started. So I think what I learned was like focus on one level at a time, focus on the challenges in that level, get it done, and then progress to the next stage of the game.
So was it after handing out those flyers, what was that moment that you realized like, hey, I'm actually on something, that this may be something that's going to go beyond a couple of awesome guys going around and mowing some lawns, but this is actually scalable and you're actually going to have a national impact?
Really, 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 it was little minor glimmers of hope. So when we pass out all those door hangers, we got a few hundred people to use the thing. And we were reading a book at the time called The Startup Owner's Manual by Steve Blank. And one of the things he talks about in that book is get out of the building, talk to your customers, talk to your users, see what it is they want you to do, see where you're letting them down. And so we did that. And we met with as many people that would meet with us. And we kept coming across like, the app didn't deliver on the promise of push a button, get the grass cut yet. There were all kinds of things that were breaking down through the process. But what we found was people were disappointed that it didn't work. People were upset that it didn't actually pan out. And we took that disappointment as validation. We thought, well, hey, the lawn guy didn't actually show up at 9 o'clock the next day like he was supposed to, but at least the person wanted it to work. So therefore, we may be onto something. We should spend the next 5 or 10 years on this. And so just little by little celebrating those wins. And I remember another moment kind of like that 2 years later was when we were working on a Saturday, my two co-founders and I, and like something like 25 people signed up on a Saturday, and I didn't know who any of them were. That was a big moment where I realized, hey, this thing may be able to work. We might be able to scale this thing nationwide. And so here we are today. We're in every major city. And so we just kept at it.
Absolutely. Now you're all grown up, which is great. And the nice thing is, again, you built the platform, and LawnCare happens to be the service, but ultimately you have built a platform. So, obviously we're having this conversation in the still first half of 2021. So what else is possible? What are some of your goals? And 5 years from now in 2026, where will we see not only yourgreenpal.com, and of course we'll send our listeners to your website, but in the world of entrepreneurship of Bryan Clayton?
One thing that we kind of pride ourselves in, why we do what we do, is helping small business owners double and triple their business in the first year of coming onto our platform. And so that's really how we measure all success. And so the more that we can expand on that, the more small business owners in the landscaping industry that we can help. That's how we get fulfillment. That's our purpose. That's why we do what we do. And so continuing to distribute the platform into every nook and cranny throughout the United States. If you're in every major city with a sports team, with a professional sports team, you can use GreenPal. But if you're in like Billings, Montana, it may not work there yet. And so getting this thing distributed throughout all the little small towns throughout the United States is what we're working on now. And then getting it in Canada, UK, Australia, and beyond is where we want to see ourselves in 5 years. We've got several 100,000 people using it right now. Something like 10 or 11,000 small business owners use the platform. In 5 years, those numbers need to be 10 times that.
And on that small business note, for a moment, Bryan, any remarkable success or impact stories just that you've heard from the providers on the platform of people that you've been able to really create an opportunity that's got to feel really good?
Oh man, I mean, that's really what brings me purpose. That's really what gets me going. I mean, there's hundreds of them, but one that sticks out is there's a lady in Atlanta, Georgia, who's a single mom who decided she was just going to start doing whatever she had to do to get in business for herself. And lawn care was one of those ideas. And so she downloaded our app, and like she might have had 2 or 3 customers that she was push mowing lawns for herself. And after a year, she had something like 70 or 80 customers on our platform and 3 employees, and taking home like over 6 figures a year in revenue. And she shares that story with us. We have a Facebook group that all these vendors participate in, and she shares that story like, look, I bought a new truck and trailer and lawnmower. Thank you, Green Pal. Like, that's why we do what we do. That's a lot of fun.
That's awesome. Bryan, Clayton, where can people learn more about the platform, whether they want to use your services, download the app, or of course, become a provider?
Yeah, life's too short to cut your own grass. So, if you want to hire a lawn mowing company, don't call around on Craigslist. Don't call around on Facebook. Just download our app. You'll get hooked up with a good one in less than a minute. You can find the app in the Play Store or Google App Store. Anybody wants to reach me, you can hit me up on LinkedIn to shoot me a connection there, and shoot me a message on LinkedIn.
Bryan, Clayton, and final question, do you mow your own grass, or do you use the app as well?
I use the app because, quite frankly, I've mowed enough lawns in my day, thousands and thousands of them. I hate smelling like gas, and I hate having grass.
I appreciate you. Bryan, Clayton, thanks for joining us on Get Down to Business. We'll be right back.